I firmly believe that how you start your day can set the tone for how the rest of your day goes. And I would guess that my guest today would have to agree. Jessica Carroll is an on-camera host and digital entrepreneur, among many other things. And as the host of the viral YouTube channel, Jessica Carroll TV, she helps women increase their confidence and live a value-based life. Inspired by her late father's life teachings, Jessica empowers people to overcome doubt and negative self-talk by helping them create a daily routine that works with their lifestyle. And today we're going to talk about how to avoid burnout, increase your productivity, and just become happier by following a very simple morning routine. I think you're going to love this one, so let's dive in. For tuning in today. I'm so excited to share this episode because this is something that has actually been a big part of my life. I get asked about it a lot, but I haven't ever really shared more about what my morning routine is. And I was talking with a friend today. We were getting ready for the episode and just deciding what to talk about. And she's like, this is actually something I love to share about because I believe that if you master your morning, you can master your whole life. So I'm so excited to have my friend Jess joining me today. Thank you so much for being here.
Lindsay, thank you so much. And talking about morning routines is like one of my favorite topics. So I'm so excited because I really do think, just like you said, if you can master your morning, you can master your life. And I feel like, starting your day off with the right mindset, you can make your day, your life 10 times more positive and more productive so that you ultimately have more playtime in the long run.
Which is, something I'm always working on having more of in my life, just fun and play. So I'm especially excited to have you here because you love the Powerhouse women community and you love on the community, whether or not people realize you are one of the incredible women who help us behind the scenes, help to make our YouTube channel possible. You've been behind so much of the fun content we've put out in the last couple of months. So I appreciate your heart for this community so much. And I really want people to get that, the people who we choose to be on the podcast are really intentional. They're people who show up actively in this community and serve and contribute. And so it's really special to get to have you here because you are one of those people in my life.
Oh, well, thank you. And it's easy to love on such an amazing community, especially with an amazing founder like yourself. And I always say that, you really are like the 5 people you surround yourself with. And now that you might not actually be physically with them, but if you follow them or if you're texting them, their energy is really going to carry onto you. And so you want to look back and be like, okay, are the main people I'm surrounding myself with or talking to lifting me up or lifting me down? And so the Powerhouse community, I always leave with a smile on my face, like goosebumps through my whole body. So it's an easy community to want to, love and share and continue to grow. So.
Well, I'm biased as well. So I agreed everything you said. Yeah. So I would love to really start with kind of your entrepreneurship journey because you do a lot of incredible things. And then we're going to really talk about how finding your groove with your morning routine has allowed you to create this life that you love, or like you say, a yes life. Mm-hmm. So take us back to how you kind of felt that call to do something of your own and create the things that you've created. For those that don't already know you and your story, just kind of fill us in on what this journey has looked like.
Yeah, well, as a, small little girl who grew up in Canada, I was the girl who literally would interview her dolls. I always just loved learning by hearing people's stories and asking questions. And then at a very young age, I knew I wanted to study broadcast journalism. So of course, where do you go? Los Angeles. So I jet setted to California. I studied broadcast journalism at Chapman University. And through being in LA, I was able to actually intern for E! News and Entertainment Tonight. And I just loved that reporting interview component of the internship. And so I then, worked for an entertainment news company right out of college. And then I kind of realized that, I don't know if I really wanted to do just entertainment, but I always wanted to interview people. And the main reason why I actually went to Chapman University is because of the internships. And it was through the internships where I learned kind of like this yes mentality to, you never know what opportunity or what person is going to lead you to the next thing. And so I could just kind of said yes to as many things as I possibly could, but they always aligned with like my main purpose, my main why. And then sadly, my dad was always like my person. I admired him. He was the serial entrepreneur. He was like, yes, man. And he was my idol. And so I was like, okay, whatever dad's going to do, I'm going to follow in his footsteps. And sadly, when I was in college, my father actually passed away. And so I was definitely on this like yes path. And then when dad got sick, my kind of yes mentality shifted a little bit because I realized that burnout and overwhelm is a thing. And so my dad said that he actually was probably diagnosed cancer because he never stopped. He never said no to anything. And so through that, I learned that I always want to be that yes girl, but I still have to say yes to myself and my health. And so I just realized that you have to really know like your core values and then only say yes to the things that fall within those core values. And whatever doesn't, it has to be a no. So I just learned that at a very young age. And then when my father did pass, I was always, when he was still around, I was always like that Energizer bunny, positive girl. And then when he passed, I fell into a deep depression. And I don't know, Lindsay or anyone listening, if you have ever like had those mornings where you, like just the thought of even getting out of bed was like too much energy. And I remember there were days where I just, the alarm would go off and all I wanted to do was like pull the sheets over my head and just hide. And I couldn't imagine my life without my person, my dad, my mentor, my idol. And then it was like one morning, and I remember it so vividly that I was having one of those days where I just wanted to stay under my covers. And I remember my dad and how he would always tell me, Jess, how you start your day not only sets the tone for that day, but your entire life. And he would always, like, ever since I was like 5 years old, he would, storm into my room, open my blinds, and the first words out of his mouth would say, Jess, what kind of day are you going to have today? And he would wait, when I'm like still in bed, like get out of my room, annoying cheerleader. And he would wait until I would say, I'm going to have a great day. And so I was laying in bed and I was just remembering that Dad used to always say this. And I realized at that moment that I had the choice to either get out of bed, put on something, make myself feel good, and I could create a good day, whether my dad was alive or not. And I knew that he would want me to continue to live this yes life. And so that's actually when I became obsessed with morning routines. And literally ever since that day, my morning is like my time. And I was finally, after a few months, able to be that Jess that I was before he passed. And it was really because I would take the time out of my morning to really get that mindset, get into that positive mindset. And it would just make me 10 times more productive for the rest of my day.
Yeah. You're making me think about, I had some close friends who lost a father figure this year, and they said they're people who have very, very strong routines, that when they were in that season where getting out of bed felt impossible, it was the fact that they built up these routines that actually just kept them going, gave them something to focus on. And, we often think about in this world, we talk a lot about pursuing big ideas on this show of, let's think about the thing that's going to allow us to get ahead. But I love your story because it reminds us that the simplest things like our routine and how we start our day may actually be the thing that save you in the seasons that none of us want to go through, but they're the ones that are a part of life. And so wherever you're at listening today, if you're like, oh, okay, I've tried that before, or I used to have a strong morning routine, or I love a morning routine, I just want you to consider that what you do today, what you do tomorrow may actually be not the thing you need right now, but something you'll need in a future season that you can't prepare for.
Right. And, everyone has a story. And sometimes I've grown a YouTube channel, an Instagram account, and sometimes on the outside, you look like you have everything put together. But deep down inside, you can, like I was hiding the fact that I was still depressed. And it was really like through this morning routine and just being vulnerable and being more open. And it was amazing that it makes you realize too that tomorrow is not promised. And so you really want to, work on your mindset, surround yourself with the right people. And if little routines or, simple things that you do in the morning or throughout the day can keep you focused on that stuff that really matters and not the stuff that doesn't matter, that can make a huge impact in your life. So I actually just created like a simple 5-step morning routine. And I call it my value morning because, like I shared before, I learned at a very young age that it's important to live with that yes mentality, but you want your yeses to really fall within your values. So it's called I'm holding it up. So if you're listening on a podcast, you can go and I have a link for you to actually check out the checklist. But it's a 5-step morning routine, and each letter in the word value, so value is an acronym, stands for something else. And honestly, this morning routine, I think some people, they're like, oh, morning routine, I need to wake up at 5 a.m. It's like a 2-hour process. And it's not. I mean, this 5-step morning routine can take you 5 minutes, but it can this 5-step morning routine can 10 times your positivity and your productivity that day. So V is for visualize. So when you wake up in the morning and you visualize your great day and you actually begin in gratitude. So I always say, write down the 3 things you're really grateful for. And especially, during our pandemic, I do feel like a lot of people are a little more riddled with fear. And there's actually been a lot of studies that show you can't feel fear and gratitude at the same time. So if you wake up and you initially just focus on what you're grateful for, the fear will be less and the confidence will be higher. So write down the 3 things you're grateful for. And then A is for action. And so this is where the productivity comes to play, because I like to set deadlines. So, okay, today I'm going to work between this time and this time, because as someone who loves what they do, I'm not going to lie, I can be a workaholic and I can actually find myself still working at like 1:30 in the morning. And my boyfriend will come home and be like, you need to go to bed. So to have a better work-life balance, I now set deadlines. So I'll set a deadline of like when I'm going to start work and when I'm going to wrap up work. And then I'll write down my 3 main to-dos that day. And if you get more done, that's great. But as long as you can really focus on 3 main things, then you're going to just be that much more productive. And what I also like to do is actually set deadlines, or like I'll set an alarm on my phone and be like, okay, I'm going to work on number 1 for 2 hours. Then I'm going to take a little power break. And then, so I actually set little deadlines within my 3 to-dos.
Yeah.
And then because you're going to be more productive, it will actually leave time for you to, I say, play every day. And when I say play every day, it could be, taking your dog for a walk, or, calling your best friend, or getting your nails done, or even just cooking dinner or watching your favorite show. It doesn't need to be like, a big ordeal, but something where you can unwind and not be focused on work, and you can really just play and enjoy. So that's A for action. And then L is for love. And this is my actually favorite step in my morning routine, because it's important to always love yourself and say yes to yourself. But there's something about expressing gratitude to someone else first thing in the morning. So what I do is I actually wake up, and instead of sending a text message or a phone call, I'll send a voice message, which is basically like a text message, but you can hear your voice, to just that first person that I think of that I want to express gratitude in the morning. And the reason why this step is my favorite step, going back to when my father was ill, I learned the power of really leaving no words unspoken. I was able to actually fly home every single weekend during college when my dad was very ill. My brother, professional hockey player, he couldn't. He was always traveling. And I'll never forget, it was like late November, and I was home one weekend, and my brother calls my mom and I, and we answer. And we're like, we can barely hear my brother on the other line. And we're like, Austin, are you okay? Like, are you there? And I mean, he's a big guy, right? 220 pounds, fighter, hockey player. And he was just bawling on the other side of the phone. And he said, Jess and Mom, I'm so scared that Dad is going to die suddenly and not know exactly how I feel. So we're like, Austin, of course he knows how you feel. He knows that he's been, he's a great dad, and he was the best hockey coach for you, and you love him. But you know what? Christmas is around the corner. Dad loves letters. So write Dad a Christmas letter and send it in the mail. So Austin's, okay, good, that's a good idea, and hangs up the phone. Well, my dad never made it to Christmas, and Austin never had the opportunity to send that letter. But you know what he did do? Is he hung up that phone, and that night he sat at his computer and he typed out a 3-page email love letter, and he sent it. And the next morning he says, Jess, I need to let Dad know how I feel right now. So would you mind just printing out this email and reading it to him? So I did. And I handed my dad this 3-page email, and I read it to him, and he just wept. And he said, this is the greatest gift a dad could ever get, a love letter from their child. 24 hours later, my dad took his last breath. But you know what? He passed away knowing exactly how my brother felt. And so I get chills even telling that story. And that was like 8 years ago, because it just goes to show that tomorrow is not promised. And so if you wake up and you just are thinking about someone, you're thinking about someone for a right reason. And so let them know how much they mean to you, or send that text message, or, and a voice message just makes it sound that much more personable, because they hear the voice behind the message. So every morning I just say, leave no words unspoken, and let that person know how you truly feel. And it's a ripple effect too, because not only is it going to make you feel better, but that person needs to hear it for the right reasons. And then maybe we'll, be a little extra more grateful that day, or it's always a ripple effect.
Yeah. Oh, that's so, so beautiful. Oh, I love that. Okay. So we're on L.
So then U is for unplug. So that's whether you meditate or read, or maybe you do go for a little walk, or just take time to really get grounded. And I actually like to meditate like more around 3 p.m. because that's when I kind of get a little more tired. So this doesn't all have to be just in the morning, but take time throughout the day to get grounded, kind of recharge, unplug from the chaos to really plug back into yourself. And this will help you respond versus just react. So sometimes it's just maybe taking a deep breath before you respond with that email or that text message.
Right.
Right. And then E is for exercise. Whether you want to exercise in the morning or exercise at night, if you don't have your health, you don't have anything. And so a simple moving your body. I like to work out in the morning because it kind of wakes up my mind, wakes up my body. There actually are studies that the more movement you do, It will lower your cortisol level, which is your stress hormone. So movement, I always say movement is medicine. And then obviously if you do work out, it will start your metabolism, which will keep your, energy going and overall just great health. So that's my simple 5-step value morning routine. And I'm pretty positive that if you do it for a while, it will make you 10 times more positive and more productive every single day.
According to a study we just made up, that is fact, people.
Right?
But it's true. And what I love is, number one, I love a good acronym. Mm-hmm. So it's easy to remember, like when it's anchored to that word value and the reminder to have it based around our personal values. Yeah. And the other thing I really heard, because I think this is what tripped me up when I would hear the conversation about a morning routine in the past, is it was always someone saying, here's my morning routine, do this. Versus, I think, teaching each of us what you said, like you like to meditate in the afternoon. That's what feels good for you. Right. Like actually listening to like what are the best times for you and your flow and your family life to do these certain activities, but making sure that you check each one off throughout the day. Yeah. Just to create the foundation of those habits. That's so brilliant.
Yeah. And I actually just keep this checklist, next to my pillow so that when I first wake up, it's like, okay. And you don't even have to really fill it out. It's more of just like a daily reminder that these things, just kind of, they keep you focused on your values. And then when you go to bed, it's kind of like another reminder of your checklist. And also if you do take that, 2 minutes at night to kind of plan your next day, that way you're not waking up and just in this like chaos, go, go, go mode. You're a little more planned out. You're a little more thoughtful, a little more intentional throughout the day. Yeah. So there's so many little things, but it really is figure out what works best for you. No one knows what works best for you except for you. So I can share what's, works for me. Lindsay, you can share what works for you, but you really just have to analyze your own life and figure it out. But I do think that there's something valuable about how you start your day, and it will carry on that day and your entire life.
Yeah. And just if you start with nothing else, that piece about visualizing the kind of day you want to have and setting that intention right away from the beginning. I mean, I'm sure like all of us, I have days that I wake up and I'm not in the mental state that I would like to be. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if it's the years of personal development or enough times where I've chosen to just have a crappy day and not change my attitude. But just pausing to be like, oh man, is this how you want the whole day to go? And I know that might sound like way, way too simple. And there are certainly days that it's not going to be that easy to just make that mental shift. But I just think about all like how simple each of those steps are, starting with gratitude, sending that love note. If nothing else, even if it doesn't completely overhaul your day, you'll feel better than if you didn't.
Yeah, I agree. And there's so many like little tiny hacks that you can do. I know that I have a girlfriend and she actually likes to almost meditate in the shower in the morning and just like really be present and feeling the water, on your body. Or I know my other girlfriend, she actually is huge into sticky notes, and I am too, just because I have to write it down. Otherwise I'll forget. But she'll actually write down her values like family, faith, fitness, and put it on a sticky note. So every morning when she's brushing her teeth, her 5 core values are right there. And so it's, instead of having a checklist, she has her little sticky notes. So it's really whatever works best for you. It is, and even I would say anyone listening, if they're, like, oh, I don't have time for all 5 in the morning. I do think that the number one that gets me most excited about in the morning is just starting to send that message of gratitude. I think that, that attitude of gratitude, it really is a ripple effect. So not only will it make you and the person receiving it on feel better, but then the person receiving it will probably want to express gratitude to someone else. And so it just causes this great energy flow within, your life and other people's lives.
I love that. Just even breaking it down to like, take that one step and maybe you make that your habit for the next 30 days and then you can add the others. But
Yeah.
we definitely want to hear from you. So if you listen to this episode, we're going to link where you can go and download Jess's cheat sheet right in the show notes. So definitely go and grab it, or you can just write it out on a piece of paper, whatever is easiest. But we want to hear from you. If this is something that you take on, let's create a little accountability. So you can tag me, you can tag Jess. We'll link all of her info in the show notes so you can find her and connect with her too. But this can be a game changer, but only if you do it, right? I mean, it really is that action piece, back to what you said.
Yeah, take action, say yes, give it a try, and let us know what you think.
Okay, well, we can't wait to hear. I'm sure lives will be changed, right? I mean, it's true. It can be that powerful, subtle, simple, and powerful. Well, you know, because you listen to the podcast, because you help us get it up on the YouTube channel, that we love to end the guest episodes with a question and really a reflection for you to give yourself some love. So we're turning the love back around on you. And it's just the simple question of what's a powerhouse moment that you've had in the last couple of weeks. So it could be anything big or small that you are going to pause right now and just really acknowledge somewhere that you were great, or you handled something really well, or you are really proud of how you showed up. So what is the first thing that comes to mind? What's your powerhouse moment from the last couple of weeks?
Oh gosh, great question. I know I'm like, I hear this all the time, but I've never really reflected it. But, you know, I would actually say that because I love what I do, and I honestly could be a workaholic. I recently just listened to my gut and realized I used to work out of my condo, and I was realizing that it wasn't a healthy work-life balance. And so I decided to, you know what, I'm actually going to get an office space, which is where I'm at right now. And I'm really trying to be more intentional and only work from like 9 to 5. And then when I leave the office, it's, you know, work is left at the office. And so that was a big kind of scary thing for me, because I'm like, well, what if I have to do this or that? So that was, but also I mentor a few girls at other colleges who are also studying broadcast journalism or wanting to start a YouTube channel. And I just got a call from one of them, and I helped her launch her YouTube channel and her podcast. And she just reached, I think it was like number 200 or something. And she just reached out to me just to express her gratitude of mentoring her and helping her kind of find her niche and get her confidence to reach out to the guests. And that means so much more than, you know, anything else. So I just love seeing, you know, other people grow, and especially at such a young age. I mean, these young girls' drive and confidence, it's so inspiring. And so I love seeing things like that happen.
Well, that just underlines why we love you so much. Is you do have a giant heart. I'm not sure how it fits inside your body, but somehow it does. And really just so grateful. Thank you so much just for being a part of my life, for being a part of the Powerhouse Women community, and for being on the podcast today.
Oh, well, thank you, Lindsay. And yeah, hopefully we hear some transformative stories.
I have a feeling we will.
Yeah.